Hi, I'm David Hamburger, and in this lesson, we're going to look at how to add more chords to a minor blues. If you're a fingerstyle blues guitar player and you're interested in learning more tunes, turning those tunes into complete songs, and starting to improvise, I encourage you to check out my membership, the Fingerstyle 5, which you can learn more about at the link below or the link on screen. So when you see someone playing chords on a blues, if they're playing more chords than you do, it can seem random, it can seem very mysterious, and it can seem like there are no rules for where those chords come from. But in this lesson, I'm going to take a 12-bar blues in A minor and show you 3 specific rules you can use to add chords to that chord progression. Now, the reasons you might want to do this, there's a lot of reasons. One is to create variety. One is to create more motion and momentum. One is to have a way to develop a tune so that if you're playing, say, an accompaniment, either for someone else who's singing or soloing or for your own singing, you have a way to start from the simplest bones of the chord progression and slowly add to it so that you're not just playing the same thing for chorus after chorus. So what I'm going to do is we're going to talk about an A minor blues. And so the basic chords of the tune are just going to be 4 bars of A minor, and then 2 bars of D minor, back to 2 bars of A minor, and then maybe a bar of F, and then the 5 chord E. Now, the first thing you can do, if we look at the first 4 bars, when you're on the 1 chord, there's a really common move where you can basically rock between the 1 chord and the 5 chord, because the 5 chord E is going to keep bringing you back to the 1 chord. And you'll hear this a lot, especially on, say, early blues as played by jazz musicians in the 20s and maybe the 30s. So instead of just sitting on A minor for a bar, you might have half a bar of A minor and half a bar of E7. And so you can hear how that would play out over the first 4 bars. Now, this is based on the idea that a dominant chord, a 7th chord, a 5th away, so the E chord, will lead you back to, will lead you back up to the chord you started on. And we can use that idea when we're on our way to the D minor chord. When we're in the 4th bar, we can play an A7. Now it's an A minor blues, so what's an A7 doing there? Well, we're on our way to a D minor, and if you were in the key of D, its 5 chord would be A7. So there's a sense that this A7 chord is going to resolve to the D minor. So that way, in bar 4, you can have half a bar of A minor, half a bar of A7, and it will give you the sense of resolving to D minor. So that tool of using dominant chords to create motion is the first thing that we can do. And we can use it here to create variety over the first 4 bars, and then we can use it here in bar 4 to take us to the A minor. Now you could, to the D minor. Now once you're in the 2nd line and you're playing on the D minor, you could rock between D and its 5 chord, which is A7, and then use E7 to take you back to A minor. So bars 5 and 6, D minor to A7 to D minor to E7, and then we're back to A minor. And in the 3rd line, if we're using an F7 chord to begin with, we could use E's 5 chord. What is the 5 of E? It's E, F, G, A, B. It's B7. So now we can use this B E7 to take us to E, and then we're back to A. So that whole 12 bars would sound like this. So that's the first rule. Using the dominant chord, that's the 5 of wherever you're trying to get to. Now, the second thing is you can take that idea of a dominant chord and you can say, well, okay, if we're in A minor and we're saying that we can use the 5 of A minor to get back to A minor, what about using another chord that belongs in the key, the 2 chord, which in the key of A minor is B minor 7 flat 5. Here's the root, the flat 5, the flat 7, and the flat 3rd. So now we could have a whole bar of A minor and then half a bar of B minor 7 flat 5. And then a whole bar of A7. So and then we're on the D minor. And if we play a bar of D minor, we could then play, we're on our way to A minor, right? So we could play the 2 and the 5 of A minor again. So B minor 7 to E7 and back to A minor. And here we could just rock again on 1 to 5 to 1. And then here, when we get to the F7, we could then, instead of playing B7, we could play, again, 2, 5 of A minor. So B minor 7 flat 5. There's the E7 and then for the last bar, the turnaround, using B minor 7 to E7 again. So that whole 12 bars would sound like this. So that's the second rule, which is turning things into a 2-5 that's taking you someplace. And finally, we could use some inversions of chords. So putting a different note than the root of the chord in the bass. So for instance, if we're rocking between A minor and E7, we could put the 5th in the bass of the E7 chord, playing B here, and then put the 3rd of the A minor chord in the bass. Right? So now we've got this bass going like that. And then we could put the 3rd in the bass of the A7 chord. So here's the 3rd and the root. I'm not even playing a 7th. You could leave that note open, the open 3rd string, to get the 7th of the chord. And so here's the first 4 bars. We get and then in the next 4 bars, when we're coming from D minor, instead of just playing a bar of D minor and going to the 2 and then the 5 of A minor, we could put the 7th in the bass of the D minor with this note C here. So that gives us this cool descending line. And then we could just do a slightly different version of the bass line in bars 7 and 8. for the turnaround, we could go on this A minor, we could put the 6 in the bass, which is actually another way of thinking about an F sharp minor 7 flat 5 chord. Or to continue sort of the bass line idea, we could swap in an F7 here and go to E so that we get. So that gives us all these different ways to come up with chords, and it's not random. It's based on the underlying chord progression and these simple musical rules about what works with standard harmony, which is dominant chords and 2/5 chords that resolve as a kind of extended way of playing a dominant chord to get you where you're going. So try these ideas out. You can add them in one by one. You don't have to try to do them all at once. If you've got questions or comments, please leave them down below. I'd love to hear from you. Again, if you're interested in learning about fingerstyle guitar in a more organized, ongoing kind of way, I encourage you to check out my membership, the Fingerstyle 5, at the links below or the link on screen, and I'll see you next time.